Good morning.
Good morning.
So could you help me in telling when did India got independence?
19,000, 15,000.
15 August 1947. According to me, India got independence twice. One was on 15th August 1947 from the British Raj, and number two on 24th of July 1991 from the Permit Raj.
Yes.
That is when
Globalization.
Dr. Manmohan Singh presented his first finance budget as a finance minister, and that was a change in the way our country worked. So prior to 1991, if you have to buy a house, if you have to build a house, you need cement, right? You cannot buy cement just like that, go to the shop and buy it. You need to apply for cement, wait for it, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. After that, you get 100 bags of cement. If you want more, you need to bribe and get it. Because prior to that, anything and everything is controlled by the government. Even the manufacturers, what they do is, you cannot manufacture more than a point. So what is your capacity? If you have to manufacture 100 tons of cement, you cannot do it beyond that. So what had happened because of this is, our economy was bleak. Our current account deficit was 8.5%. It means your total expenditure for a year is 100 rupees. You have 8.5 rupees short. Think about the entire India. India's GDP would be somewhere in billions. So the deficit was huge. And whatever we import from other countries, we need to pay in dollars. And to pay that, we didn't have money. In 10 days, we are going to default our payments. That was the situation in 1991. And by 5 years down the line after 1991, everything changed. Today, we are in this conference room, AC hall, plush chairs, projectors, all these things we are enjoying because of that one single day. So I'm going to talk about what had happened in 1991 and who was instrumental behind it. All these things had happened because of one man called P.V. Narasimha Rao. And I'm going to talk about this book called 1991, How P.V. Narasimha Rao Made History by Sanjay Baru. Sanjay Baru wrote another fantastic book called Accidental Prime Minister. So what I'm going to talk about is, I'm not going to talk about what are all the policies that changed India. Rather, I would be speaking more about from the book. This is more of a history book kind of thing. What are all the things P.V. Narasimha Rao portrayed, or how instrumental he was to take up the change. So in 1991 election, he was not even given a seat. So Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister candidate. He was not even given a seat as an MP. He was about to go on a political exile. He was about to retire. Unfortunate demise of Rajiv Gandhi in between the elections, and Congress won, and it was accidental that Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister. But he was determined to change the way our economy worked. So first thing what he did is, he was, after Indira Gandhi, for the past 6-7 years, he was not very active in politics. So what he did is, he is supposed to choose his team. He was not in touch. So what he did is, first thing, he reached out to P.C. Alexander, PMO of Indira Gandhi. So he asked him, I want a proper professional economist to be the finance minister. So P.C. Alexander suggested I.G. Patel, who was the finance minister during Morarji Desai's period. And the other person he suggested was Manmohan Singh. I.G. Patel was not in a position to take up the role, so Manmohan Singh was offered the finance minister role. The first learning from this man: if you don't have the knowledge of something, reach out to people. So he chose the right person to choose a right candidate for the job. Second thing, what he did is, he used the credibility factor. So he has chosen Amarnath and Naresh Chandra as Principal Secretary and Cabinet Secretary. how he chose is, they both belong from Kaishyas community. During Mughals rule or even Britishers rule, this Kaishyas community used to be the administrators for both Mughals as well as for Britishers. So they are very good in administration. They are basically from UP. So what he did is, he want IAS officers from that community so that their administration capability will be fantastic. So he chose two brilliant people, and eventually they went places. They become, Naresh Chandra became a governor later. He was part of even Pokhran's test also. He was very instrumental in future. So if you again, if you don't have exact details about people, look at the credibility background of the people. So when we are choosing somebody for our team, what we could do is, how many challenges have they faced in their life, how they have come up in life, what is their background. That could be useful for us to choose the right candidate. Third thing, when you have got the right team, back them up. So when a lot of changes were brought in, it was a radical shift in the policy, and there was a lot of criticism even from the own party. So what he did, Manmohan Singh offered to resign from his post thrice, not once, thrice. At the third instant, Narasimha Rao became very furious. He said, Manmohan Singh is neither a politician nor a complete officer. He is in between. You should understand, whatever criticism is happening, it's on me, not on you. So I will take care of that, you continue your job. He had the trust on his team. He never allowed him to resign. He continued for 5 years. But if you see the other thing, when P. Chidambaram was involved in there was some scam, and it was highlighted. When he offered to resign, it was readily accepted within a year. So he didn't have a same approach for everyone. He understood whom to trust, whom not to trust, when to back, when not to back. So it is very important for a leader when you should back somebody, when you should fire somebody. And the fourth thing is the trust. So you have asked somebody to do something. If they come up with some solution, you should trust them even if it is very tricky to handle. So when the rupee was sliding and our current account deficit was very high, so what we started off with, we had pledged our gold. We pledged close to 47 tons of gold and got $300 million. In spite of that, we couldn't manage because a lot of NRIs started to take money back from the country. They were selling all the properties, taking the money from the bank. So because they thought India is going to break. So what Manmohan Singh suggested is, we will devalue our rupee. Suppose if our Indian rupee is 10 rupees against US dollar, let us reduce it to make it to 12 rupees. So that more foreign investors will come to India to do it. He had done it twice. So close to 17% Indian money was devalued. From 17 rupees it became 24 rupees. That was not an easy task. In 1966 when Indira Gandhi did it, she was people were critical on that. And he knows, Narasimha Rao knows it is going to backfire. In spite of that, he felt that was good for the economy. He continued to do that. And next thing is bringing opposition on board. So during that period, there were a lot of groups in Congress. So there was Nehru group, there was Sonia group, then Arjun Singh wanted to become Prime Minister, Sharad Pawar wanted to become Prime Minister. So how he handled this much opposition? Because you have to do a lot of efforts. People will criticize. What he did is, he created an empowered committee and he made all of the people from all these teams on board. So bring your opposition on board. These team will review all the policy decisions and give their feedback. And the policies will be slightly tweaked to make them happy. So bring your opposition on board. Such a fantastic move by P.V. Narasimha Rao. And finally, the last point. He was determined to do a radical shift, but he was very sure that shouldn't affect anybody. In October 1991, when he met IMF chief, he said, I am willing to do whatever is good for the economy as long as not one worker tells me he lost job because of me. India's population in 1991 was 83 crores. In 3 years, 1 crore jobs were created. Imagine in 1994, 1 crore jobs were created. That's the determination he had. Not just to change the economy, but also to help the people. Even now we had seen, quite a bold decisions like demonetization, but that resulted in huge work loss, isn't it? So he was very determined what is important and what is more important. So when you take when you want to make a radical shift, make sure it doesn't affect the common man. So these are some of the learnings from this book. What I didn't like in this book is close to 40% of the book contains the appendixes. What are all the speeches made in the parliament, at Congress Bhavan, media. So I felt I couldn't get more from that. Rather, the 60% could have extended at least to 80%. I would have got more leadership traits, more interesting facts about P.V. Narasimha Rao. So I hope this helped you to understand some of the leadership traits from a man who never smiled, who never spoke, but who was highly effective on his work. All the best.